Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're back at the lake, no longer at the creek, so a little deeper than 3 feet, and we've got the Surge 1080. I am super excited to try to dock start this wing, and we're gonna see if this can kind of be a middle ground between the Spitfire 1180 that I have and the Fireball 1160. So it's a little less span than both, and then I think it's more area than the Fireball 1160, but it's less area than the 1180. So I guess the big question today is this Surge 1080 going to replace these two wings for dock starting for me? By all means, I really like dock starting this wing. This wing's really easy to dock start. We've already proven that no matter which fuselage we're on, probably no matter which tail we're on. We could try this with the Skinny 25 today. But is it going to be easier to dock start in this wing, or a little bit more reliable for me? I know this wing's just going to take more speed. I can definitely dock start it. I've proven that. But I think it kind of is harder to do on this silly short. Still not sure about that. Need to do more tests, but we just want to see where this wing lands relative to these two. Let's get into it. Look at that low speed lift. Oh my gosh. Okay. This may not be that difficult. Also worth noting, I've never quite had a wing this size. The closest to this size would be the 1160. And then the next closest would be the 960 of the Spitfire. So I've never had one, and this just seems like somewhere in between. And I'll talk about it at the end of the video, but I did ride this setup pretty much exactly how it is behind the boat yesterday. It was a smaller wake boat, and I have some thoughts. I'll share them at the end, but the Surges are the way to go. So we actually switched out the 40 behind the boat yesterday for the 30, and it took me a second to get used to pumping it, but I feel like the Surge liked the smaller tail. If you guys have rode Surges, or I know Fireballs like a smaller tail, that much I do know. Let me know what you think of the Surges. If you've ridden them, do they like a smaller tail? Do you prefer something in the middle like this 40 or 35? We put a 30 on, I thought it felt great. And do you find it harder to pump a smaller tail, or is it just different? I used to think it was harder to pump a smaller tail. Now I'm leaning more towards maybe it's just different. So I've got that Skinny 25, so if this goes really well and we pump this right immediately, right off the dock immediately, maybe we throw the 25 on there? I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do it. Try number 2. Wow. That was so easy. Wow. Well, this might be a really short video. Holy cow. Okay. So, what? I thought the Fireball was nimble when I first got on it for its span. The Surge is giving me a run for my money. Now, the span's less, the area's more, but I'm able to carve this thing. How do I pump this like you're supposed to pump it? I'm kind of trying to conserve my leg today because we got a long day ahead of us. Wow. What? That was 2 tries? I mean, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Okay, well, we might have an answer on a new wake beat wing. Holy cow. Yeah, you don't even need a ton of speed, to be honest. That was quite a bit of speed. I don't think you need it. And I had a feeling on the first fall that I had, I was able to kind of almost pump it at stall, and it's like, that's like P&G DNA. And not even Spitfires, well, the 1180 will take it, but wow, wow. Okay, can we go 2 for 2? We got some waves coming in. This is a really good test. I don't know about you, but I don't think I need any more convincing that this wing is actually very easy to start. I mean, relatively, right? But very easy to start and carves really well for its size. I mean, no, it's not going to carve like a Spitfire 840, but man, it's got a lot of low speed lift and it turns really well. The hybrid between the Fireball and the Spitfire is what I'm feeling, and this is kind of like a one-trick pony. You know, the Fireball's been my go-to just because it carved really well for its size, and I didn't feel overfoiled like the Spitfire 1180, which just at my weight's not great. But wow, But wow, Axis team has killed it yet again. Surprise, surprise, right? I think Todd, one of my friends I follow with, has a I think it's David, has a Surge 1010 coming in. So I'd be here. I bet I could dock start that actually. But the goal of the 1080 was really like a consistent dock start with less speed. Sometimes I don't get the whole dock if people are sitting on the dock, or who knows? I may just not have the room to run or the desire to. And I wanted something I could pump out to catch the waves pretty easily. This 1080 so far is checking those boxes. If I can catch a wave on the 1180 and not get ripped off every time, sometimes I do, then surely I would not get ripped off on this Surge 1080, which again, I surfed it yesterday, so I kind of have an idea. So at this point, I think we might as well take this skinny 40 off, bolt the skinny 25 on, and see what happens. All right, we've got the skinny 25 on. Hopefully I don't get impaled, but let's see how this affects my ability to dock start. Oh, okay, that's different. Well, we can't get much worse than that. I expected the board to lift, like with the 40, and it actually did a nosedive into the water, and then my feet just touched it and I plopped. So I kind of drop started myself for the second time this weekend. The question is, do we need more speed, or do I have to just press up on the board more to get it to angle up? Let's see. Alright, so I figured out what it was. The balance point changed on the board with this skinny. I had to put my hand like 2 inches back. So that's like 6 centimeters. Is that average? I don't know. But we just had to change the balance point of the board. You saw I was able to get it up and going. It was a little bit more pitch sensitive, I felt like, with the skinny 25. But man, it felt a lot better to pump and turn. So I don't know. It changed how I pump too, actually. I feel like I pump more off of my front foot. Could just be foot positioning, but the balance point has definitely changed. One of the comments told me to see how my foil is balanced. So I guess if I pick up the center wing, it's fairly balanced here-ish, maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like I need to change pass position. What I have, I'm almost afraid to is really what it is, because I don't want to tweak too many things, but man, that skinny 25 is nice. So let me go ahead and talk about the wings I tested this weekend. I also haven't talked about this, but I tested a Surge, I believe it was 890 behind the boat, and I didn't feel like there was enough of a difference between that 890 and my 840 Spitfire to buy it off of David. It was a little too small for him. Todd and David weigh a bit more than me, and I just didn't see enough of a difference to buy it, but when I saw this Surge 1080 was coming out, I had to have it after I saw Yvonne's video, so thank you, Yvonne, for that. This wing's awesome. I cannot believe I can dock start it this easily. It was just a matter of changing the balance point with the skinny 25, so that's really good to know. So now I have that data for you guys, at least for me. What else? Oh, the Surge 1080 behind the boat. This wing feels awesome behind the boat. Still not going to be as nimble as, say, like a Spitfire 840. It's the smallest wing that I have. It's just hard for me to link waves with that without getting some knee pain. That's more of a personal thing. It's still plenty of wing behind a giant wake boat. Or even a smaller wake boat, you'd probably go 2-3 waves back, but after that it would get dicey. Anyways, I digress. The 1080 could probably do it all. This thing has such low speed lift, I would not be surprised if wave 20 could be used. But we're gonna see today, actually I did have it behind a Nautique yesterday, and it still felt fine on a bigger wave, but I think we were running no ballast. Today, behind the Malibu, I'm sure we'll be running full ballast because we're teaching some people how to surf, and we'll bust out the 1080. I think I'm going to put the 40 tail back on just so I don't get impaled, in case I want to try some new stuff today. But other than that, if you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're pumping on. I'd love to know your thoughts about the skinny tails or changing tail size in general. Do you find what I'm talking about to be true for you? Or maybe you have a completely different experience. But until then, I'll see you guys on the next one.